They were born connected, conjoined twins. Where one went, the other followed. One body, one life. But only one of them hated it. Sophia felt trapped. Susan felt loved. Then, one day, their parents chose separation surgery. From that day on, Sophia changed. Jealousy replaced sisterhood.
I will destroy you. I will be the only one with this face.
In a school lab, Sophia threw acid on Susan's face. After that day, Susan's face carried scars. Suddenly, she was treated like someone disposable. She was known as the girl with scars. People laughed, and Sophia felt relieved. Her parents sent her away to Paris for treatment, alone, again. But Paris gave her something unexpected, a man named Jacob. He didn't look at her scars. He looked at her.
You're still you,
he told her. Jacob helped her rebuild her life. Plastic surgery changed her face, and she did wonders for her family's business in Paris. She closed the biggest deal for Drew Corporation there. Now she was flying back to America, ready to surprise her fiancé and her parents. But the moment she stepped inside the house, Cook Mario rushed toward her and whispered something that made her world stop.
Hey, I saw Jacob sneaking off with Sophia into her bedroom,
said Mario, brushing off the unease. Susan rushed to Sophia's room. As she stood at the door, Sophia's laughter rang through her ears. She pushed the door open just enough to see inside. On the bed, she saw her sister Sophia and her fiancé Jacob in an intimate embrace, exposing their betrayal.
Isn't it fun sneaking around like this?
Said Sophia with a smirk.
I can't keep my hands off you, even for a moment.
Jacob wrapped his arms around her body, pulling her close.
Aren't you worried about how my sister would react after she knows about our engagement?
Engagement? I don't care. I promised that freak that I would marry her, only because she held a share in Drew Corporation.
but now that you are about to have the 70% share, you are my queen now. She is all but my slave,
said Jacob with no guilt on his face.
That dumb freak will never be your wife.
Sophia laughed viciously.
Yes, baby. She will rot somewhere in a dark hole when reality hits her hard.
Jacob's words slashed Susan's heart. He was never her first choice for a husband because he was a womanizer who treated women like playthings. But after millions of promises made by him and a fancy proposal, she had accepted him as her future. I was labeled as the Queen of California back in my university days. I would have found anyone to marry me. Why am I with such a jerk? Susan thought.
Oh, Jacob. In that case, kiss me again.
Besides, Susan is on a business trip, but I would have known if she had reached home. She is so noisy.
Sophia added fuel to the fire. Susan wanted to give Jacob a surprise by arriving in the city a day prior. Little did she know that she would witness her fiancé in her sister's pants.
I have always wondered, Sophia, how did you end up with 70% shares of Drew Corporation? Susan is Noah Drew's daughter, just like you. Why wouldn't he give her those shares when she was already set in the company?
Sophia didn't want to disclose the family secrets to Jacob. She waved her hand dismissively, dodging his question with practiced ease.
Shh. It's a long story. I must leave soon. I need to get ready for our engagement party.
Tonight, my family will declare you as my future husband and me as an heir to Drew Corporation.
It will be so good to see Susan's sad face then.
Yeah, I bet, but don't go just yet. Let me have some more fun.
Jacob slid a finger under her dress.
Oh, Jacob, I will be yours soon. Do as you please after this party. I have to get ready now.
Susan whispered to herself. An heir to Drew Corporation. So she came back to become an heir. I knew Sophia was capable of something like this. But Jacob? Was he with me? Only for the shares from the very beginning. How much more will he benefit by switching from me to Sophia? I'm so done with this cheat. There are plenty of men here who would throw themselves at me if I let my guard down. I just need to find the right one. She turned and rushed out of there, her heart pounding painfully in her chest. Downstairs, she crossed the party filled with crowds, and it felt like they were all celebrating her misery. Grabbing the tallest drink she could find, she hurried to the garden. Desperate for fresh air, she leaned against the weathered garden parapet, craving another man's touch. She wanted to melt into someone's arms like she had just seen Susan do with Jacob. That is when she noticed a man leaning against the wall in the open garden, smoking a cigar. And when he turned, Susan gasped. She recognized him instantly. Ethan Storm, Jacob's cousin, the man Sophia was once obsessed with, her precious apple of the eye. I remember she wanted to marry him for his good looks and wealth. He owns 25% of the Storm family business and manages another company abroad now. He disappeared from California years ago after a feud with our family. He has been keeping a low profile since then. But now he's back. What is he doing here? An idea crept up in Susan's mind. If I convince him to marry me, it will teach Sophia and Jacob a lesson. Anyway, I have to find an excellent match for myself, or my position in Drew Corporation will be inferior to Sophia's. So I think his cousin will be the best for me. Susan gulped down her drink for some liquid courage and took a step towards that stranger. But the moonlight illuminated his handsome features and all her confidence vanished. She thought, why would someone so stunning and rich choose me when I have nothing left to offer him? But by then, Ethan had noticed Susan, and their eyes clashed. Both were unaware how drastically their lives were going to change right after this moment. Before Susan could say anything, Ethan frowned and said,
"That dress is a little thin to protect you, isn't it?"
Susan was startled. She turned to face him, and Ethan noticed how drunk she was.
I am very much aware of your status in the Drew Corporation, Susan.
What? He knows my name. He also knows about the recent company shuffle. Do rumors travel that fast here? Susan stared at him in awe.
Who else would be drowning their sorrows in alcohol on such a happy occasion? Except for this daughter.
Blowing out a puff of smoke, Susan hesitated before speaking.
Do I make you uncomfortable?
Not particularly. Why would you make me uncomfortable?
That's gonna kill you if you don't stop.
Susan said, wrinkling her nose at the smell of the cigar.
Good. It'll speed up the process. Why did you approach me? Do you know who I am?
You are Ethan Storm, if I'm not wrong. They say you were gonna marry Sophia. Is that why you are here? To break her engagement?
I would rather die than marry her. No offense.
Realizing it was her sister he was insulting,
None taken.
Susan smiled. She was starting to like this man.
None of the young women in there shall be my wife. They are all like matching dolls in a set.
I am unlike any of them. You can make me your trophy wife since I'm no longer Jacob's girlfriend.
Jacob Smith. You better be careful. He's not the man he pretends to be.
Susan wasn't shocked at the revelation.
I know, I just found that out. What choice do I have, Ethan? I can't escape my fate. Unless
Unless what?
Unless you were to marry me instead.
What?
Ethan raised an eyebrow, intrigued.
It's only been 10 minutes. You already think I'm in love with you?
I am not looking for love, Ethan. I am looking for a way out. But so are you.
Ethan was surprised.
You think you know me that well?
I know your grandfather wants you to marry soon.
For a man with no interest in romance, I might be your best option.
I'll live like a shadow in your home, silent, unseen, tending to your needs. And I promise I'll never love you.
No strings attached. How can I trust you?
What about a contract?
She was desperate to convince him. It would be the perfect way to get revenge on her evil sister and Jacob.
A contract marriage?
Ethan repeated as he considered Susan's tone skeptical.
My father has no idea that I'm out here speaking to you. Ethan.
He won't be pleased to see you here with me.
Ethan studied her for a moment.
I am not interested in marrying anyone for love. I only wish to leave this place and never look back.
Why don't you just run away?
How long can a woman remain alone without the protection of a strong man?
The world respects power, not independence.
I am spoken of as the most eligible bachelor in town.
Ethan said mockingly, his words dripping with pride.
Why should I marry you?
Susan's lips curled as she replied,
I do not care for your looks, Ethan, nor your money, or anything else others might want.
Frankly, I only see you as an escape, she explained. This will be your way out of your problem with your grandfather. A win-win situation for both of us. Is that so? Ethan said, intrigued. It isn't hard for me to find an actress to play the role of my wife. If it was so easy, you would have done so already. Susan countered, seeing through his bluff. Your grandfather is toying with you. Present me to him as your bride and the tables would turn. Ethan smirked. I can't wait to see my grandfather's reaction when he has to bless you by kissing your forehead. He knows everything about what's happening in Drew Corporation and your fallen status in the company. It'll be priceless to watch him squirm like that. So, Susan said, should I consider it a deal? Ethan watched her for a moment before responding. Meet me at a restaurant tomorrow. I'll text you the details. We will further discuss this there, and then I will give you my answer. Susan's eyes widened in surprise. She hadn't expected him to take her seriously. She quickly offered him her business card. I want to see how determined you are. I'm sorry to end our conversation here, but I have stayed at your home longer than I wanted to, Susan. Hopefully we shall see each other soon, Ethan said as he was about to leave, when his footsteps were stopped by an announcement. He entered the party hall again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here tonight, Mr. Noah Drew began, scanning the crowd. This evening is a special occasion for our family. Mr. Noah continued, we are thrilled to announce the return of our eldest daughter, Sophia Drew, after many years abroad, and her engagement to the most eligible bachelor, Jacob Smith, CEO of the most prestigious Smith Corporation. The applause rippled through the crowd. Across the room, Ethan's jaw tightened, his icy gaze fixed on Sophia and Jacob, a silent tension simmering beneath his composed exterior. Mrs. Drew stepped forward, smiling graciously. And we are even more delighted to announce that Sophia is now the heir to the Drew family fortune. The applause grew louder, but Susan's stomach twisted as she heard the announcement. Susan's thoughts spiraled. I thought Grandpa had disowned Sophia. And now that he's gone, my parents brought her back to this house and gave her a strong position in Drew Corporation. There is no point in confronting Mom and Dad. They have already made a decision. A dangerous thought crept up in her mind. If they can hand over 70% of the company to Sophia, what's stopping them from seizing everything I have? My position, my shares, my bank accounts. They could drain it all. No, I won't let this happen. I will fight for my rights. She had to find a way to convince Ethan tomorrow to marry her, but she knew it wouldn't be easy. Susan's eyes darted towards Sophia, who was scanning the crowd after exchanging rings with Jacob. Her eyes landed on Ethan talking to Susan. Sophia came walking in their direction after ignoring a guest who wanted to congratulate her. Panicking, she told Ethan, I will see you tomorrow, Ethan, but please keep this conversation related to our marriage contract between us. She exited the party hall and walked towards the garden to breathe. Ethan nodded courteously, and she rushed away as Sophia arrived. Sophia had already seen her speaking to Ethan and was wondering what it was about. Susan leaned against a tree, far from the party, her mind racing. Good thing she saw me, she muttered to herself. Karma is real. She knew Sophia would be furious if she found out about her conversation with Ethan. Susan just hoped Sophia hadn't overheard anything about the contract. The next morning, Susan was full of anticipation as she got ready to meet Ethan. Suddenly, her eyes fell on the many documents her father had prepared for her after she came back from her business meeting in Paris. She didn't feel the urge to open them until now. A sudden wave of curiosity hit her, and she quickly opened one. Inside were documents like voting proxies for her company shares. Why would my father prepare such documents for me to sign? She muttered, confused. With growing unease, she ripped open the remaining packages, only to find documents she never could have imagined, not even in her darkest dreams. An agreement that strips her of all assets, contracts giving Sophia power of attorney over her affairs, and papers removing her from her father's company board. Perhaps this was their plan after Grandpa died. She whispered to herself. Her father was hinting at his perversions, making her sign these documents without offering an explanation. Till now, I was blindly signing the documents offered by him, thinking that he was only building a safe nest for me. She gulped down the sorrow. He's planning to hurt me, rip me off my powers in the company. All for Sophia? She sighed deeply. I must get a marriage contract with Ethan done soon. He is my only way out of this impending misery. Once they signed the marriage contract, Susan would automatically gain the power to compete with Drew Corporation head-on and take revenge. She couldn't wait for her life to change. Just then, someone knocked on the door. She went to open the door. "Good morning, sister," Sophia said without waiting for permission from her sister. She appeared from the sidelines and hit the door hard on her face. "Did you have fun last night, Susan?" she questioned. The pain trickled up Susan's neck to her head when she was hit by the door. Sophia continued, furious. "Tell me, what did you discuss with Ethan last night?" she demanded. "Nothing, Sophia," Susan replied. "He just wanted to know if he could smoke in the garden." "You are lying," Sophia accused. "You spent a long time with him to answer one query." Susan thought of an excuse. "Ethan told me last night that he wanted to marry you. Nothing more. He was dreaming of marrying you." Relief washed over Sophia. She said with pride, "Of course he would want to marry me." She was sure. Nobody can resist my charms. With a sly smile on her face, she muttered under her breath, "Not even my fiancé." Susan looked up with anger in her eyes. She wanted to tell Sophia that she had caught her and her fiancé in a wild, dirty makeout session last night. But she knew that would only make Sophia furious. And Susan only wanted to leave immediately without dragging the conversation out and meet Ethan at his home. While Susan struggled to free herself and flee from her house, Ethan sat patiently at the restaurant where they were supposed to meet. He had booked a private room in the restaurant and waited for Susan to enter. Felix, his secretary, entered. "Sir, your drink is here." Ethan turned. "Should I place an order for your guests?" Felix asked. "I'm honestly not sure. I hope a woman won't turn down my invitation," Ethan said anxiously. "A woman visiting?" Felix said, surprised. Ethan frowned. "Not any random woman. She might become my wife." "What?" Felix said, surprised. Ethan stared at him unamused. "Why are you acting like it's such a surprise I would get a wife?" Felix recollected himself. "Your exact words when your grandfather suggested you marry were, 'I am never getting married. I would rather escape to a different planet.' Maybe I misinterpreted those words. I apologize. Felix, I am not interested in marriage, but the woman I met last night was intriguing. A perfect way to piss off my grandfather and ward off some people from around me." "I do not understand," Felix said. "It will be self-explanatory if she arrives today. Check at the entrance. If a Drew steps in, bring her to me," Ethan added. "Drew? Please tell me it's not Sophia," Felix asked softly. "No, the other daughter. Sophia Drew is the elder one," Ethan said. "Thank goodness." Felix sighed in relief. "You are aware of the rumors concerning Susan, right?" Ethan asked. "Anyone is better than Sophia in my book. If Sophia were to become your wife, I would have shifted to a different planet." Ethan chuckled on hearing this. Felix added, "I have never seen her approach men except for business pursuits. I am not so sure she will arrive for such an arrangement." "Felix," Ethan said coldly, "start preparing to bankrupt the Drew Corporation. If that woman doesn't show up, I would make sure their company runs into losses." Felix replied calmly, "I'll deploy our finance team to California. They won't even see it coming." But over the Drews' mansion, Susan was struggling to free herself from Sophia's accusations. "Sophia, I have to leave. Move." Susan couldn't keep the frustration out of her voice. That's when Susan was saved by someone who she never expected to come to her rescue. It was her father, Noah Drew. "Sophia," Noah exclaimed. "Let her go." "But father, she—" Sophia trailed off, realizing there was no use in denying what he saw. "She spoke to Ethan last night." Noah was taken by surprise. He looked at Susan. He ordered Sophia, "I will take care of it. Leave." Sophia stomped her feet and left, leaving Susan in the hands of her father, but relieved. "Susan," Noah said, inching closer, "can you tell me what happened between you and Ethan last night? You know you shouldn't talk about our company matters with the Storms. You know our history with them." Susan fumbled as she replied, "I was on my way to my room when he stopped me." Noah nodded. "What did you talk about?" Susan kept her head down. He only wanted to make sure he could smoke in the garden and talked about Sophia. Really? Noah's eyes lit up. That man is so strange. He probably was expecting us to announce his marriage to her. This is good. Still, you shouldn't have interacted with him. What if you leaked some details about our business in the process? Noah scolded. I'm sorry, Father. Susan replied. Fine, fine. There's absolutely no point in scolding you. I'm sorry about how Sophia accused you, but she's just looking out for us. Ethan is someone who can easily ruin us, Noah said. Then she remembered that she needed to meet Ethan. She said, Dad, I have to meet someone for our next project. I'm leaving. Okay, Susan. Noah agreed. Promise me that you will help your sister sail through company processes easily. She has already been through a lot. I promise. Susan rolled her eyes, frustration bubbling up. Susan excitedly drove the car to the restaurant that Ethan had mentioned in a message. She entered the restaurant and scanned through it, awestruck by its grandeur. Good morning, I have a reservation under the name Ethan Storm. She asked the restaurant manager at the entrance. The restaurant manager checked his book of reservations and said, Please follow me, miss. After a moment, she came in front of a private room where Felix stood waiting for her. Welcome, Miss Susan Drew. Mr. Ethan is expecting you. Felix greeted her. Good morning, it's nice to meet you, Susan said, offering a handshake. Felix shook her hand happily. Please enter this door. He is waiting for you, Felix said, knocking on the door and opening it for Susan. The door closed behind her and she felt her heart skip a beat. I wasn't expecting you to show up, but now that you did, please have a seat, Ethan said, sitting at his desk, watching her every move. I don't make false promises in business. I show up when I say I will. Susan responded without thinking. Ethan raised an eyebrow, a flicker of surprise crossing his face before amusement settled in. His next question stunned her. Did you inform Mr. Drew about our meeting? Susan sat down, carefully considering her words. I am not working with my father. He would never let me meet you, whether in private or public. He'd call me a traitor to the family for even striking a deal with the Storm. Does your father hate you? Ethan asked bluntly. Susan hesitated before answering. I don't think he hates me. He is just more protective of Sophia than me. It's a parent's job to love and protect all their children equally, no matter what. It's a shame you were born a Drew's daughter, Ethan remarked. Tell me something. I know you have conquered the world, but how the hell did you end up so powerless in your own family business? Whatever you're hiding, it's because you're a Drew's daughter, right? High society is quite competitive, Ethan interrupted. Yes, Susan admitted. Someone must have been really jealous of your success, Susan. Anyway, let's get to the point now. Let's say I believe this marriage is all you're planning and your father isn't involved. Why would someone like me who's lived in hiding want to marry someone like you in the spotlight? Truthfully, I never pictured someone as grand as you to come across when I was thinking about an escape plan. I thought we'd be a good match considering our family status and the rivalry our families hold. I've considered two things about you. First, you're private, so I wouldn't need to mingle much. And second, given your status, you can control my family, Susan explained. Ethan raised an eyebrow. I like to keep to myself, but there are parties I must attend. Am I to show up without my wife? It would be boring if you hid all the time. You misunderstand, Ethan. I never hide because I want to. My priorities have been business meetings rather than socializing with the fishwives of friction. I'd love to go out, attend parties, and dance. I have a lot of experience and confidence to mingle with the who's who of town, Susan said earnestly. Ethan hummed thoughtfully. A week ago, I wouldn't have entertained this conversation, but now I'm in the mood to play games. He placed a piece of paper on the table. What is this? Susan asked as she looked at the paper with the Storm Corporation logo in the corner. A contract marriage needs to have rules and conditions, right? Ethan pushed the paper and a pen toward her. Susan's eyes widened. Isn't this a little too easy? I expected you to examine me more. What are you waiting for? Ethan asked when she hesitated. Sorry. Susan reached for the paper, but Ethan grabbed her face, noticing faint redness around her cheeks that was caused by hitting the door on her face. What happened to your face? It's nothing. Susan turned away. It's something if you're to be my wife. Name the person and I'll have them punished, Ethan said firmly. It was an accident, Ethan, Susan insisted. See to it that you don't have any more accidents before we're married, Ethan said, deciding to drop the topic for now. No love shall be the first condition. It won't be a problem on my end. Susan spoke first. I hope you stay like this until the end, Ethan replied. You're not my type, Ethan, Susan said bluntly. Oh, so there is a type? Ethan mused. Of course. I was quite in demand back then. I've seen rich and handsome men lurking around me. What should the second condition be? Susan asked. My second condition? Speak of this to no one besides my secretary, Felix. He'll be a shield for you in dangerous times. I must ask that I can keep working in Drew Corporation till I can, Susan said. That's your business. Do as you wish, Ethan said. Susan continued with the next condition. Third, we must sleep in the same room. He paused and looked at Susan's face. Why are you surprised?
Did you think I wouldn't stay in the same room with my husband?
She asked. Ethan rolled his eyes. I don't think that's necessary. Everyone does it. Young or old? Susan said brazenly. How young? Ethan asked. Susan asked. Fine. Is there anything else? No, we've covered the basics. Anything else can be handled with communication. Sign it. Ethan said. Don't you want to add a punishment for breaking the contract? We haven't set a timeline either, Susan pointed out. The main thing is not to tell others about it. If it gets out, it'll hurt you more than me. Lastly, we'll be married for a few years. Add that to the contract, Ethan said. A thought popped into his mind. A few years might be enough to destroy everything the Drews have. For a few years? Susan muttered in disbelief. This is nothing more than a contract marriage. We'll stay together for a few years, and if it doesn't work out, we'll part ways. Don't worry. I'll make sure you're well compensated. You'll have more than enough to live comfortably for the rest of your life, Ethan said with a grin. At some point, you'll need an heir, Susan said, doubt creeping in. No, I don't need one, and if at all I need one, we will prepare a separate contract for that. All the conditions will be different then. Ethan was stunned at how bold her demands were. Do you mind me having your child? Susan asked with a smirk. That's not what either of us signed up for. Let's stay focused on what this partnership actually is, Ethan said. Susan nodded. Cool. We can carry on with the contract, Ethan. She started to sign her name. Susan was finally relieved that she was in safe hands. Sure, he's cold and mean, but he's not heartless, Susan thought. A flicker of determination crossed her face. I can definitely make him fall for me. Her dreamland was interrupted by Ethan's cold voice. I'll hide the contract somewhere safe. And your father, mother, and sister won't gain entry to my home or my company after we're married, Ethan said bluntly. Done. I look forward to being married to you, Ethan Storm, Susan replied. I must leave now. Okay. See you tomorrow at the wedding hall at 10 a.m. Don't forget to carry your birth certificate, Ethan said, standing. Susan turned to face Ethan one last time. Thank you, she said softly, her voice barely steady. Ethan gave a curt nod, his expression unreadable. As Susan stepped out of the private room, she felt a mix of fear and determination flooding through her. Tomorrow, I'm really doing this. I am marrying Ethan Storm. Yes, I am getting out of that hell, that gloomy Drew mansion. Susan sped off in her car. She still couldn't believe she would be the daughter-in-law of the Storms family, a family with the strongest hold in California's elite business circles. No one from her family would be pleased when Ethan Storm marries her, especially Sophia, who wanted everything she owned. And then there was the abominable Jacob Smith. He is probably already making plans to torment me, ripping me off of all the powers from the Drew Corporation and snatching the percentage of whatever shares I hold in that company, she thought. They might retaliate once they learn about this new development with Ethan. She could not help but feel anxious about the next day. Her life was in the hands of the powerful Ethan, and she hoped he would free her from her home and help her get her revenge. The next morning, Susan was jolted awake from a deep sleep by the sound of violent banging on her door.
Open the door, you horrible person.
She froze, shocked by the words hurled from outside. It was her mother and sister. Why are they shouting at me? Susan wondered in alarm. Did they find out about the contract? Before she could move, the door burst open. They stormed inside.
How dare you roam around in this mansion like a privileged princess?
Sophia shouted. Sophia, what are you talking about? Susan asked, panicked.
Her mother screamed at her.
Maids gathered outside the door, drawn by the noise. Noah arrived last. What is going on here? He demanded.
This daughter of yours is nothing but a shame.
her mother hissed. I warned you to get rid of her before she drags this family through more shame. How could you speak of me like that, Mom? Susan shouted. Stop spreading lies and rumors. Rumors? Her mother shouted. Don't play innocent. The maid saw you sneaking into Jacob's room at night. Susan's face froze. What? That's not true. I would never... Her mother motioned to the side and a nervous maid stepped forward. Sophia gently said, Go on. Tell them what you saw. I saw Miss Susan going in and out of Mr. Jacob's room several nights. Liar. She's lying, Dad. Susan, now on her knees, crawled closer to her father. Noah turned toward the corner of the room. Susan and the others followed his gaze. There stood Jacob. With a sorrowful, whimpering voice, Jacob said, Forgive me, Mr. Drew.
She was forcing me to be with her in a romantic relationship.
I tried to refuse her, but she threatened to ruin my engagement with Sophia if I didn't comply. I had no choice but to submit to her demands. Dad, they're lying. This is all fabricated. Enough. Her father finally shouted. You can't stay here anymore. You've proven to be a shame. You are a threat to our family before your sister's marriage. Dad, please don't. Susan pleaded to deaf ears. At Noah's command, everyone retreated from the room. Her mother and her sister were the last to leave, their eyes cold as they stared at Susan, who was struggling to stay on her feet. Where will I go? Susan pleaded, her voice shaking. Sophia smirked. You think this is the worst thing that could happen to you? Oh, darling, I have far worse planned. With that, she turned and walked out with her mother. Susan sank to her knees. I knew no one would believe me, she thought. And I don't have much time to argue with these idiots. The wedding. Ethan must be on his way. I will deal with my family later. Ethan is the most important person to me today. He'll be waiting for me at the entrance of the wedding hall. I should not be late. Susan quickly hid her birth certificate in her purse and changed into a decent outfit. Then she called for a cab and left for the wedding hall. How far is it? She asked the cab driver breathlessly. Just a few miles more. The cab driver responded. He should already be waiting. Susan had blind faith in Ethan and a desperate hope. Will Ethan really be there at the wedding hall? Or was she clinging to false hopes?
To find out what happens next, listen to every thrilling episode of Twists of Love and Revenge, available only on the Pocket FM app. Download it for free now.